Are you considering relocating to the Raleigh area and you've heard of the suburb Clayton? Are you wondering if it's a great place for you and your family to live? While everybody will tell you about the good things about any area, they won't necessarily tell you about the bad or the ugly, as they say in the South. Now, while there's many reasons that people love living in Clayton, and I can say that because I used to live there, there's a lot of other reasons a lot of people hate living here. So today I'll be going over some of those reasons that people wish they knew before they moved to Clayton. If you want to know more of that information, stay tuned. So welcome to the channel or welcome back. I'm Lance Nemergut, a local real estate agent right here in Raleigh, North Carolina. Your connection to all things real estate and life in the Triangle area. If this is the first time to the channel or you haven't subscribed yet, please click the subscribe button below and tap the little bell, and you'll be notified every time we drop a new video. Not only do we love making these videos to help y'all, we also love to help you with your real estate needs. So the number on your screen is my phone number. Feel free to reach out, shoot me a text, send me an email. However you want to get a hold of me, we'd love to chat. We relocated here over 7 years ago from Southern California, and we actually came here sight unseen. We just did some research on the internet, and in 3 weeks, we had to secure a rental, a place to live that was commuter friendly to my job, and then here we are. We were looking for that smaller town feel and thought we would love to live out in the country with the horses, the cows, and some of the land, which we didn't have any of that and was almost impossible in Southern California. This will be my stories, just so you know, and some of our friends and clients from California, Florida, Texas, New Jersey that moved here to Clayton, and some love it and some don't. And just a disclaimer, some of these things I'm going to mention could be something that someone hates and is annoyed by, while other people say, it's not a big deal, it's not a deal breaker, it's still worth living in Clayton. Either way, I promise not to just give you the good, which if you look up my other videos, I tell you all the reasons people love living in Clayton. But also I'm here today to give you the bad and the ugly, just so you know. So let's start with the first thing, which is everything is far away now. The everything is far away problem has actually gotten a lot worse over the years. Initially we moved here, it was roughly about 20 to 30 minute drive to get into Raleigh. It doesn't seem too bad, especially depending on where you're from. In California, it was easy to drive somewhere from an hour to 2 hours just because of traffic, which you would know. But getting away from California and all that traffic, I thought, ooh, this is gonna be great. We're gonna be in a rural area, quiet town. We're just gonna be zipping, zinging around. It's gonna be easy, country roads. Life's gonna be great. Well, on the flip side, I have clients that have relocated from New York, especially Long Island, and one of the common threads that I hear is Clayton is a lot bigger than they thought it was. It takes a lot longer to get from one side to the other side of Clayton, which is kind of tough. If you look at Clayton on a map, it looks like relatively small, but it's deceiving because it's pretty wide. So on average, to get fun things or even commutes to work, it's gonna easily take you 30 minutes. And in the peak hours of rush hour, it's gonna be between the construction of the 40, the 42, the 70. You're looking at probably around 45 minutes to an hour. Again, depending on where you're from, that could be, no big deal. I'm used to that. But if you're like me and you moved here thinking, we were gonna be getting away from all that craziness, it's not true. In fact, with all the growth that we've seen since 2018, the traffic situation has gotten significantly worse, especially during normal morning and evening commutes. What used to be a 30-minute commute can now easily become 45 minutes or even an hour, depending on the construction zones you have to pass through. And there are many of them. Another thing that really surprised me when we moved here and continues to surprise me in 2025, there's still not a Target, a Chick-fil-A, there's not a skating rink, a movie theater, the list goes on and on and on. Let's talk about shopping. While many suburbs conveniently have access to big retailers, Clayton residents still have to drive at least 20 to 25 minutes to reach the nearest Target, which is over in Garner. For many families relocating from more developed areas, this comes as a huge shock. You used to having these major retails within 5-10 minute drive, but here it's a dedicated trip. The same goes for popular fast food spots like Chick-fil-A. You'll need to head towards Smithfield or Garner to satisfy that craving. For family entertainment, the options within Clayton proper are still incredibly limited. There's not a movie theater, so you have to be driving to White Oaks and Garner, Cinemark, and Raleigh for that blockbuster that you want to see with your family. Forget about taking the kids to skating or a trampoline park. Those amenities are all about 25 minutes away in neighboring communities. We do have some basic shopping like Food Lion, Lowe's Foods, and Walmart, which will definitely work, but specialized shopping is definitely going to take a day trip or at least a half a day trip. This is especially challenging for families with children who want like age-appropriate entertainment options without having to spend half the day in the car. So again, you're gonna have to drive a little bit further out or do what a lot of people do, go into the Raleigh area to have some fun. Now, there's a bowling alley, I believe it's called Rainbow Lanes off the 42, but I know some people complain and say, it's kind of outdated, we wanna dress up, go out for a date night. It's not like you say Dave & Buster's or even Urban Air, which is in Raleigh. There's also not a lot of food choices in comparison to Raleigh. And this continues to be a pain point for many Clayton residents in 2025. While I will say the dining scene has definitely improved over the years, with more restaurants opening up in the downtown area, the options are still limited in comparison to nearby big cities. What's interesting is that some of the well-regarded chefs from Raleigh have actually started bringing the restaurant concepts to Clayton, which is awesome. And that's a positive sign of big growth. For instance, we now have a couple of farm-to-table restaurants that source ingredients locally, which is awesome and we love out here. A few examples are Simple Twist. Our family loves it. They're off of Main Street in Clayton. Simple Twist is like a locally owned restaurant that prides itself on using fresh local ingredients. They craft this diverse menu and they offer ranges from gourmet burgers to seasonal salads, all made commitment to high quality and community support. Another great example is Manning's, which was one of the first places in our faves when we came to Clayton. They are also off of Main Street in Clayton. Manning's offers a refined dining experience with a menu that changes seasonally to incorporate the latest local ingredients. Their farm-to-table approach is evident in the dishes that highlight the best of North Carolina's produce and meats. So these establishments showcase Clayton's dedication to fresh, locally sourced cuisine. Whether you're in the mood for a casual meal or fine dining experience, and these restaurants offer dishes that reflect the region's agricultural richness. Some more great news. There's finally a couple decent coffee shops where you can work remotely. One of them is 9 Bar, which reminds me of many of the trendy coffee shops in New York, back where we were at in California. They have a great open concept and it always seems like this place is buzzing. Great customer service and they have so many different choices. It's awesome. Another place in Clayton is the Clayton Bakery and Cafe with amazing cookies and goodies that you'll definitely enjoy. And another one to make sure you stop by this one is Boulevard West with some amazing bakery items that are as good as you're gonna get on the whole East Coast. And there's no joke. I actually lived up in Connecticut for a long time, which is where I was born before I came to California, which has amazing baked goods. And I'm telling you, this place is awesome. We've also seen the addition of a few ethnic restaurants offering Thai and authentic Italian cuisines, but the diversity option still kind of pales in comparison to what you'd find in Cary or North Hills. But the good news is the drive's only about 30 to 40 minutes if you want to go to Cary or North Hills. Awesome area. On the con side, you'll definitely find out that on those especially hot dates like on Friday or Saturday, it's really hard to get in and you're definitely gonna have to have over probably an hour wait to get in Clayton. There's no reservation system for most of the restaurants, so you just have to show up, hope for the best. But there are some great choices to hang out while you're waiting, have a cocktail, and just chill with your loved one, just have a good time. But I do know when it comes to date nights, a lot of people would just head to Raleigh because there are definitely more options and many of them take reservations. It's just a lot easier. For those of you who enjoy specific cuisines, be prepared for disappointment, unfortunately. If you're looking for authentic Mexican, Indian, Asian fusion, those options are definitely limited in Clayton. But there are a few that have popped up over the years that are brand new. Don Vito's Mexican Food and Fiore, which are in Clayton. But there are in Clayton. There are many restaurants here that cater to traditional Southern palates, which is great, but that's what you're craving. But this can definitely feel a little monotonous if you're used to more diverse dining experiences. But I'm telling you, changes are coming. Let's talk about downtown Clayton, which has undergone some significant changes, but still faces some challenges. The downtown area has seen some revitalization efforts, which is really nice to see in recent years, with the addition of a few boutique shops, a brewery, Deep River Brewing, which is an awesome place to hang out. And those restaurants I mentioned earlier are also pretty cool to see that it's up and coming. The town has also invested in beautification projects, adding different planters, benches, improving sidewalks in the central business district. However, despite these improvements, Clayton still lacks the vibrant, walkable atmosphere here that many people are looking for when they move to a small town. The area is small compared to other historic downtowns in the Triangle, and there are limited entertainment options for evening activities. Most shops they close early. You'll notice that, especially coming from New York or California. And the nightlife is virtually non-existent, except for a few cool bars that they have and the brewery. The town does host events like the Harvest Festival, the Christmas Parade, which is super cool. Definitely brings downtown up and coming and very vibrant. But on a regular weekday or weekend, foot traffic remains relatively light. This makes it challenging for small businesses to thrive, resulting in a fair amount of turnover for retail spaces. But again, in 2025, the developments going on and the many changes that are going on throughout Clayton will be very different in the next 3 to 5 years. For those who envision spending weekends strolling through a charming downtown with numerous shops, cafes, and cultural venues, Clayton's downtown may not meet those expectations to where you want to be. It's growing, but it's not there yet, and the pace of development has been slower than many have expected. Now, another thing people hate is Clayton is not staying rural. One of the draws to moving into Clayton is country living, wide open spaces, and the ability to have land. Now, when we were looking for a suburb to live and we had asked people about Clayton and did our research online, there was a lot of buzz saying that Clayton was going to be like the next Cary or the next North Hills. If you talk to a lot of locals here, many would roll their eyes and say, "Ooh, yeah, that'll be the day." But as time has gone by, Flowers, who owns a lot of land in Clayton, has built over 40 communities and counting. Now they have new plans to make a waterfront hotel with shops, businesses, offices, living center. They're saying that it's actually going to be 3 times the size of Fenton and Cary. We'll see. The good news is, as other suburbs have been growing out and they're running out of land, the developers and builders have just been coming towards Clayton, building communities with a lot less land compared to a decade ago when they were building on an acre or more. This rapid development has dramatically changed the character of Clayton, especially over the last few years. Areas that were once farmland with beautiful rolling hills are now filled with cookie-cutter subdivisions. In 2025, finding a property with true country feel within Clayton requires going much further out from the center of town. And even those areas are being eyed by developers. What's particularly frustrating for many residents is that the growth doesn't seem to be managed with cohesive vision for preserving Clayton's rural charm. Instead, it feels like rapid land grab by developers trying to maximize their profits. That's the reason when we moved here and rented here first, we did not buy a home in Clayton. We wanted land and it was very difficult to find any type of land, so we had to move a little bit more towards Raleigh. For those who've moved here seeking the ideal country lifestyle with space between neighbors and natural landscape, the current pattern of the development has been a major disappointment. Many residents feel that Clayton is losing its identity and becoming just another crowded suburb rather than the rural retreat they had hoped for. Which brings me to another thing that people hate: the never-ending construction and new community builds. Let me tell you, This issue has only intensified since I first recorded a video about Clayton. When we moved here about 7 years ago, they told us the expansion of the roads was about a 10-year project. But if you've seen the progress and you've talked to a lot of the locals that have been here a while, they'll say it's going on 12 plus years now. And who knows how long it's gonna be. So not only do you have the construction of the 42, the 70, they also have the 540 loop that they're trying to finish. They call this the outer loop, which is gonna be right around the corner. So again, that's gonna bring even more road construction to communities as well. What's particularly frustrating is in 2025 is that many of these projects seem to start, stop, with little apparent progress for months and months at a time. You'll see orange barrels and reduced speed limits, but no actual work being done for weeks. This creates a constant state of traffic congestion without any type of completion or improvements. This situation becomes so notorious, locals joke about Clayton orange being the official town color. That's referring to the construction barrels that line virtually every major place around the county. And it's not just the major highways, even residential areas are seeing constant construction as new communities continue to be built at a rapid pace. I know between this 540 expansion, there are already other suburbs out there, and they're complaining about the constant noise from the construction. So just be prepared for the wait times with traffic, especially during peak hours. And while they're expanding the main veins of the roads, another complaint that a lot of locals have is that all these communities are being built within Clayton. You know, off the main veins, all the country roads are not being expanded. All the 2-lane roads, why aren't they 4-lane? So again, during peak hours of the day and night, you're gonna have a lot of congestion. People getting off work, trying to go to work, that's just the way it is. The infrastructure simply hasn't kept pace with the population growth, creating a frustrating experience for commuters, and even just trying to run errands around town can be a challenge. What should be a quick trip to the grocery store can turn into a 30-minute ordeal, depending on the time of day and which construction zones you encounter. Another thing that people hate is that a lot of communities do not have sidewalks, or they'll have like a sidewalk on one side but not the other side. In 2025, this issue remains largely unaddressed in many parts of Clayton, and honestly, through lots of parts of North Carolina. Despite the growing population and the increased density, it's still a challenge. If you're like me, being from California or other parts of the West Coast or even the East Coast, we're used to the luxury of not only having sidewalks on both sides of the street, but also having the neighborhood roads wide enough to park on each side of the street and easy to drive down the street. Here, a lot of the communities, especially the newer built ones, have more narrow roads, and they also don't allow you to park on the road, which is crazy. I know personally for me, that was a huge shocker when we first moved here. I was like, where are all the sidewalks? Why can't I park on the side of the road? What's going on? I was used to being able to walk up the road out of our community, go into the downtown or the main areas, get a coffee, go to the grocery store, do whatever. It's still not like that here in most neighborhoods. There are not a lot of walker-friendly areas within the town. You basically have to drive or ride a bike, but again, there's no bike lanes. So the city I came from was a biker-friendly, easy to drive. We had all those different bike lanes, so you really didn't need to drive if you didn't want to. This car-dependent infrastructure kind of creates several challenges for residents. For families with children, the lack of sidewalks mean kids can't safely walk to friends' houses or the neighborhood amenities. For fitness enthusiasts, running or walking for exercise, it actually becomes a little bit of a risky endeavor, especially on the winding country roads with blind curves and no shoulders. I've seen some of the people biking and they'll literally be like 12, 14, 18 of them, and it's like they're on a 2-lane road and you can't pass around them and you're gonna almost run into them, so it can cause a lot of challenges. The town has also actually made some improvements and newer developments and around the schools, but the connectivity between the neighborhoods and the commercial areas remains poor. You'll often see sidewalks that start and stop. It's like, what's going on? They are creating patchwork systems, but it doesn't actually facilitate walking a viable transportation option. For those coming from more pedestrian-friendly communities, this can definitely feel a little bit isolating and frustrating. It reinforces car culture and limits spontaneous neighborhood interaction that many people value in a small town. Even in a downtown area, while there are sidewalks, the walkable district is kind of a small area disconnected from the residential areas. The parking situation compounds these issues. In many neighborhoods, particularly in the HOA-controlled communities, street parking is either prohibited or severely restricted. This creates challenges for families with multiple vehicles or when hosting gatherings, barbecue, as driveways often only accommodate 2 cars comfortably. So, besides the weather being amazing in California all the time, out here between the humidity, the rain, the 1-lane highways, you definitely do not want to ride your bike very far, at least for not daily transportation. The lack of dedicated bike infrastructure means cycling remains kind of a recreational activity rather than a viable commuting option for Clayton residents. If you found this information helpful, click the like button below so that others can find this information as well. I know today we went over the reasons that people wish they knew before they moved here, and a lot of pain points, and people that are actually hating things about Clayton. But like I said earlier, I do other videos of all the reasons that people definitely love Clayton as well. So definitely check those out. And if you're considering relocating to the Raleigh area or anywhere outside the Raleigh area, please feel free to give me a call, shoot me a text, or send me an email. The number's right here on the screen, and we'd love to chat with you. Till next time, see you soon.